Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I am here today with my setup the month of April, and I know that it is already almost mid-April at this point in time. And also I just want to show you guys some new brushes that I got from Artistic Bear Co. Finally having some filbert brushes, which I'm super excited about because I think they are really versatile brushes, so you'll be able to see me using them in this video as well. And back onto the painting, and I'm sorry if I sound a little bit hoarse. I'm not feeling super well, but I just really wanted to get this video out before it was May, so I just started off with painting the sky as well as a little pathway. And my theme for April this year is actually kind of like hiking, I guess. You know, when I was back in Australia, we did quite a bit of trekking and just hiking through a forest, and it was really nice taking those trails and just being able to just embrace nature. I just really love the feeling of being able to go on a hike. This year I really, instead of focusing on, you know, an object or a theme in a way for the different months, and I wanted to focus more on scenes, if that makes sense. So each painting was actually more of like an atmosphere and a place rather than objects, if that makes sense. Halfway through painting this painting, because I took a few days to complete it, my Sylvan Clayworks Moon Palette set came, and I am so excited. This was actually the pre-order, so I ordered it I think maybe last year, and I've actually been wanting to get one of their palettes for maybe 2 years now, but because there was an international shipping due to COVID, and because it was always sold out, it was just really difficult for me to get my hands on this palette. But I finally managed to, and I am so happy. It is so beautiful. I think it is such an upgrade from my plastic palettes, which honestly, no problem with using that at all, but I just think this is such a treat. And I was actually using my palette knife to mix up the paints, but I realized that it kind of scratched the ceramic a little bit, so afterwards I changed to using a brush to mix my paints instead. But back to the painting, I am just using my filbert brush actually, and I realized that it was super easy to paint all these pine trees. I just used the filbert brush in the medium size, I think, and then I used the tip and then like kind of pressed it down a little bit to create different textures on the pine trees. I think for this entire painting I used mostly a filbert brush, and I think I only switched to a round brush towards the end of this painting, but other than that it was mostly with a filbert brush. And I love how it has a rounded edge, so it still does allow for accuracy in painting details, but if you press it down hard enough, you can kind of use it as a flat brush as well to paint large areas. After I worked on the pine trees, I wanted to work on the little shrubs as well. After it dried, I think I went back in once more just to create the highlights, and you can see that I switched to a round brush at this point to just paint in some highlights. For my pine trees, I changed to a round brush because I wanted to be even more accurate in terms of where I chose to paint in all those highlights, so I changed to a round brush with a finer tip. And after I'm done with the trees and the plants, I waited a while for all of them to fully dry, and after it dried, I mixed a really dark brown, almost black color and went back in with my filbert brush to paint in some tree branches. They are the darkest color, they are the closest ones that are in the foreground, they are the closest in distance, so they are the darkest and also most detailed. It was a little bit scary to paint over the painting in such a dark color, but I really liked how it looked. I think it just gives some life and added dimension to the whole painting as well as compared to before. And after I am done with that, I just did some final touches to the pathway as well, adding some stones here and there, and I am done. And while I am waiting for the painting to fully dry, I am now working on my calendar spread. And once again, I'm using my watercolors to just paint a small border at the top part of my calendar. And now I'm changing to my smaller moon palette for my watercolors. I mixed up a darker color and a lighter color. The lighter color is just white with a little bit of yellow ochre, I believe. And the darker color is just some indigo and Payne's gray mixed together. I used the lighter color to paint in the background, and then while it is still damp but not fully wet, I went back in with my filbert brush to paint in some pine trees. And because the background is damp, it caused the blue to run a little bit, which I really like because it gave the idea of fog. And for the calendar spread, I kind of wanted to create that misty look. All the foggy trees were all in the background. Once the paint was fully dried, that is when I went back in with a darker blue color, and this were for the trees that were in the foreground, and I think it made everything look so nice. Afterwards, I am just numbering my dates down and just highlighting the weekends in, just so that I know where my weeks begin and end. I forgot to record this part, but afterwards I just lettered the word calendar in the border and I pasted my cover page in on the right hand side. And now I am working on my first weekly spread because I enjoyed painting the pine tree with the filbert brush. I did the same thing this time around as well, and I just used the same watercolor background that I used for the calendar spread, but this time around with a little bit more of the yellow ochre, I believe, so it became a bit more saturated, and then painted in a really dark color for the pine tree And while that was drying, I went in with a black Posca marker to letter in all the days of the week. I do not normally use my Posca markers, but I just thought that I should bring it out because it has been a long time since I've used them. And so I also used the green and the orange Posca marker to just like scribble in some lines, and I think it looks super cute, and I love the vibrancy of the Posca pens, so I should use it more often in my weekly spreads. And after my tree has dried, I went back in for lighter green again, and I think I did this like 3 times, so I went back in actually one more time with the lightest green, and this is how it looks like. I love this theme. I think it looks super cute, and I am obsessed with painting pine trees now. But anyway, that's all I have. Hope you enjoyed this setup, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!